In recent days, the U.S. city of Minneapolis has once again become a focal point of national attention. Public unrest linked to federal immigration enforcement operations has raised questions not only about domestic security, but also about the balance of power inside the United States. Against this backdrop, the U.S. president has signaled a possible shift toward de-escalation. While no major policy reversal has been announced, the language used by the White House suggests an effort to calm tensions rather than intensify them. In this report, World Signals examines what this signal actually means, how federal and local authorities interact in moments of crisis, and why domestic stability in the United States matters far beyond its borders. Background: what happened in Minneapolis? The latest tensions in Minneapolis followed federal immigration enforcement actions carried out by U.S. agencies. These operations triggered protests, some of which escalated into confrontations between demonstrators and law enforcement. Local officials expressed concern over the scale and timing of federal involvement, while community groups criticized what they described as excessive enforcement tactics. In response, security measures were increased, and coordination between city, state, and federal authorities became a central issue. While the situation has not reached the scale of previous nationwide unrest, it has reopened long-standing debates over immigration policy, public order, and the limits of federal authority within U.S. cities. In public remarks, the U.S. president emphasized the need for stability, coordination, and respect for local governance. Notably, the tone differed from earlier statements that focused primarily on enforcement and federal control. The key signal lies not in a specific policy announcement, but in the choice of language. References to cooperation, restoring calm, and working with local leaders suggest an attempt to lower tensions rather than escalate them. Equally important is what was not said. There were no immediate threats of expanded federal deployment, no emergency declarations, and no framing of the situation as a national security crisis. For analysts, this restraint is itself a strategic message. Federal and local power dynamics in the United States. The Minneapolis case highlights a structural reality of the U.S. political system. While immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, public order and policing largely fall under state and local jurisdiction. This division often creates friction during crises. Federal authorities seek to enforce national law, while local governments prioritize community stability and public trust. Historically, similar tensions have emerged during civil rights protests, immigration crackdowns, and public health emergencies. In most cases, escalation or de-escalation has depended less on legal authority and more on political signaling from the White House. Internal unrest in the United States does not remain a purely domestic issue. International partners closely monitor how Washington manages internal crises. Persistent instability can affect investor confidence, complicate trade negotiations, and weaken diplomatic credibility. For rivals, such moments may be used to question the resilience of U.S. governance. For allies, they raise concerns about reliability and predictability. In this context, signals of restraint and de-escalation are not only aimed at domestic audiences, but also at global markets and foreign governments. Reactions and strategic implications. Reactions to the president's statements have been mixed. State and city officials have generally welcomed a cooperative tone, while advocacy groups remain cautious, noting the lack of concrete policy changes. Strategically, the administration appears to be attempting a balancing act, maintaining federal authority while avoiding a broader confrontation that could amplify unrest. The coming days will be critical. Further escalation could harden positions on all sides, while sustained de-escalation may shift the focus toward policy reform rather than crisis management. Conclusion. The situation in Minneapolis is not only about one city or one enforcement operation. It reflects broader questions about governance, authority, and stability in the United States. The president's signal toward de-escalation suggests an awareness of both domestic risks and global consequences. Whether this signal translates to lasting stability will depend on actions taken at multiple levels of government. For international observers, Minneapolis serves as a reminder that internal dynamics in major powers can quickly become global signals. This was World Signals. Subscribe.